Well, first off, then, what do people know about Roe v. Wade? Like, what are your general thoughts?
I haven't really heard or even tried to learn a lot about it. I just know that there's a lot of ruckus that's going on in the government about um, if a woman choosing to get an abortion, and if she does get an abortion, it's considered murder, and that woman should go to jail.
I feel like it's best if we just like talk about it conceptually and ethically, because I talked to some people who are good, genuine people who really thought that they were making the right decisions by saying, hey, abortion shouldn't be illegal because they felt so strongly about life,
Definitely.
and they have their reasons and justifications. I'm saying that it's right. I'm saying that it makes sense, not necessarily, but I mean, to the other, someone for people who will be like, hey, I'm making a choice, for a better quality of life because I can't, take care of a baby right now, and financially, babies are extremely expensive, and particularly if someone is even in an emotional state. So I guess it's really subjective to, yeah, it's very subjective.
Yeah, I get that. Like, I definitely like grew up in a very pro life household, and like I went to like pro life rallies and stuff when I was growing up, and I'm definitely pro choice now.
So particularly to the woman here, how do you guys feel emotionally about parts of the government, parts of the country, not wanting people to have abortions?
I think, well, emotionally, it's hurtful. It's really hurtful emotionally.
Yeah.
And then it really doesn't make sense to me because the people that's making these laws or wanting to make these laws are not women. They wouldn't even understand what it means to be a woman, or what it means to even what it will do mentally for that woman to be pregnant, especially if it's not a pregnancy that she, one, doesn't want, one, isn't mentally ready for, isn't physically ready for. And so if she's not mentally, physically ready for this child, you're still going to force her to have this child. So therefore, now you're fucking up this child, this future child, and you're fucking up this parent. And now you're making a way bigger situation, a way bigger problem for two human beings that it doesn't need to be.
My thoughts and articulations are mostly that this is just like it's unsurprising in a way that I should have expected but didn't. The way that women's bodies are treated secondary to what they can bring other people. Like it's this possibility inside them that is valued almost more than their own lives.
Maybe there's some people who is like grappling with like that type of decision making, who genuinely, haven't understood a different perspective. Because there's a lot of people that's born into like their bubble, like in belief systems of people who look like them and people who tend to think like them. Mm-hmm. So when we encounter people of the other, some of that tribalism can take form, and I feel like that's like something we got to really pay like attention to. So yeah. So in the government right now, I guess they're trying to are you guys aware that for the potential choice of the Supreme Court justice, the documents got leaked of their potential ruling or something like that? I'm not familiar with all the terminology. I think that's a different problem on its own, because I don't think no high court decision making or process of the decision making should be leaked to the general public before the decision has even been made. I feel like it is dangerous to democracy, but that's a different like subject, But that's the type of world that we live in now, where a lot of things is sensationalism.
Yeah, there is a lot of sensationalism right now.
But also, like, what right to privacy does the Supreme Court justices have? You know what I mean? Like, if they're at this level of importance where everything that they're doing, I mean, in some ways they're more powerful than the president. You know, where like
Yeah, I was wondering like why are people like concerned with who's leaked it?
Yeah,
It's like isn't that it's the same thing as whistleblowing? Like a whistleblower?
no, bro. I think it's different because
It's like something that the people want. The person, I think the person leaked it because they thought this is
People
what the
should
people
know.
should know, right?
agreed. So, like, personally, with whistleblowing, I feel like in like companies and corporations, that makes more sense to certain like government agencies, like the CIA, FBI, whistleblowing because of the type of nature of their dealing that directly impacts lives from like the most like initial level of like the type of operations that they carry out, but particularly to the Supreme Court justice, even when they pass a law, it's not necessarily like that law is going to be, at least in my opinion, it's not going to take effect immediately because certain states are going to repeal against it. I mean, a little bit. So it's like it takes time, even though this is the Supreme Court justice decision is extremely powerful because there are laws to stay as long as like that judge is there, or like laws can stay there forever. So you can have like a judge appointed there creating laws for the country for 20, 30 years.
Well, to be clear, a judge isn't creating laws. All they're doing is striking down the ban for states to the ban on states to ban abortion. So it's a double negative. So I don't know a better terminology for it. So it's not like they're saying that like everybody has to outlaw abortions. It's just saying that like if a state wanted to create a law that banned abortions, if this statement goes through and if this ruling goes through, they have the ability to do that. Whereas previously they couldn't do the Roe v. Wade.
I got you. So how about this? Do we think states should have their own rights?
I think so.
So
I thought they do.
Well, I feel like that's the big tension in American democracy, right? Because you got the federal government, Washington, D.C., that is overarching to the states. But the states have their own personal government, right? That makes their own laws as well. So, but at the end of the day, federal usually takes precedent because it's the top-down layer of it.
Well, I think there's for everything there's levels of both. Like it can't just be the states doing everything. It can't just be the federal doing stuff. Where that kind of breaks down and where the rights go to the state and where the rights go to the federal is a conversation that's as old as the Constitution.
You also have to keep
older.
in mind our country's kind of big, so like it's a lot to make an overarching statement or law that encompasses all of the environments that exist in the United States.
Which we do already. Like, look, there's a law not to murder. I mean, it is an overarching law, just in context. But just like, to keep it on, like, I guess, the concept of abortion or pro-life or pro-choice, allow me to play the devil's advocate, or not even the devil's advocate, because some people, they think that we're the devil's advocate. I'm not necessarily the devil's advocate, but what if, like, I was born in a Christian family, and I believe that, life is sacred, and that's been my traditional values, and that I believe that, getting an abortion is literally murder, and that there's a lot of irresponsible people who don't want to ante up to their fucking decisions of fucking without a condom and no birth control, to get out of it, when there's other people got to make conscious decisions, So I feel like some of it may be let's hold this person like accountable thing.
Yeah, because if abortion is murder, then it's one of the biggest genocides of all time.
So what do you guys think about that? Like, what if, like, at least in the person who is pro-life's mind, what if they really think abortion is murder? Like, what if they think like you're murdering someone just as like shooting a 30-year-old person? It's like the same thing. Like they don't find no difference between that.
That sounds kind of radical.
Ooh, radical how?
Radical right.
But like, why is it radical exactly?
That they're considering it murder, abortion.
Because there's people out there that definitely do.
Right.
I mean,
I just see radical.
I don't know if I necessarily think it's radical because I think it's a lot of people who genuinely believe this. I think it's one of the biggest drivers for the right. A lot of people are single issue voters, conservative, just because of pro-life, because of that element. And it's the response of what y'all were saying, where it's people telling a woman what to do with their body, but at the same time, what the response to that is going to be, well, people have rights to their own body and stuff, but those rights can end when you're killing somebody else.
Autonomy.
Yeah, so that at that level, where if defining what life is, defining what autonomy is, defining what what rights each individual or each a fetus has, a baby has, because like if we're gonna treat a 10-week-old fetus the same way as we would a baby that's a month old, I think pretty much all of us can agree that we shouldn't allow somebody just to kill a 1-month-old baby just because, oh, I don't want this right here. And you'd be like, well, you have. If somebody would say you have autonomy over what you want to do, which your offspring right there, then you'd be like, well, that just ends right there. Like, I don't want you killing it. So I think, like, I personally don't think it's radical with it, but I understand where you're saying from your perspective on that. I think it's a common belief, and it's one that I feel like people talk past each other.
Yeah, because I think that's like subjective common belief. I think it's common to like. I mean, it's like I'm trying to think. Like how many women of color that I have personally encountered that's been pro-life. I'm genuinely trying to think about that. Like Hispanic, African American. We can throw in Asian. Like,
wait, what are you trying to say?
I'm saying that parts of the pro-life movement core values come from white evangelical Christian values.
I think Christian values in general.
Which literally, white evangelical Christian values. I'm not mincing my words. Which has a long history of dominating decisions and institutions in this country. Yeah. We can't act like that doesn't exist. And the reason why I'm pointing that out, if it's Christian values, then that means I believe some of it may be religious dogma. We're like the divine command theory. God told me so this is what it is. Now you can't even question it. As people literally live their life like that. And that's why personally I've never been attracted to certain like religious things. It's like, okay, that's not enough questioning. That's not enough critical thinking. But as someone who may be pro-life, I can understand the jeopardy if they really believe that life is at stake, however though, where does the autonomy for the mother that may have the life starts, and where's the autonomy where the baby that might actually start to exist ends?
Right, and we had these conversations. This is what the law that's in place has conversed, right?
Mm-hmm. Like when do you think?
Fetal
like should it be
viability.
like a month, a week, like
Fetal
what?
viability.
Fetal viability. What does that mean?
That is a medical term describing when the fetus is capable of surviving outside the womb, including like with life support and stuff, and where technology has gotten it. Right now, it is between 24 and 28 weeks, and that is when the fetus can live outside of the body, and that is where I think the fetus begins to have its own body autonomy, because their body autonomy is not tied intrinsically to the mother's.
I see what you're saying. However, I disagree with that. Reason why I think it should be when people contract consciousness. I think consciousness is the closest thing linked to the concept of a soul. So if you can
isn't that the same thing?
No. Okay, no. Because
how do you measure? How do you?
Well,
consciousness. Like what?
Like, is this person conscious or not? Right? You can tell that I'm conscious because I'm talking to you.
Oh, so aware of the world around them.
Aware of the world around
Gotcha.
you.
So basically,
so yours is at birth.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Because if you're aware of the world around you, then it's clear that you're partaking in this world. There's no mistake from it. Now, anything because we have technology that can have pieces of flesh live all the time. Fucking vegetables, are they life? I believe for me that it's when the baby can participate in the physical world.
The only issue with adopting that one is that it kind of goes against the laws that we have for cancer patients.
What do you mean?
So, like, if yours begins at, like, being aware, then how can we codify that and not recodify, like, the fact that you can't unplug a coma patient until they don't have brain activity, which happens before birth.
Or do they do? Wait, so what are you trying to? I really want to follow. Like, are you saying that it's the same thing as a person who's brain dead, and we know that they're brain dead, we don't see no brain activity on the CAT scan? Like, what?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. So as long as there's brain activity, you can't pull the plug on a cancer. I keep saying cancer. Coma patient. Yeah.
Well.
Brain activity happens before.
It goes further for me because you can have your neurons showing that it's working, but you can still be in a comatose state. Are you living? Like, yes, you are breathing and shit like that. But if you're not gonna wake up for 20 to 30 years, most people would like, okay, he's fucking dead. like I really believe personally, like for the maximum for like abortion or like when a baby absolutely undisputedly have rights is when they are clearly participating in this world, involuntarily, whereas like there's no machines, like keeping you alive. You got birth from the womb, you're breathing, you're crying, you're feeling sensations of pain, and stuff. Okay, welcome to the Matrix, but that might be radical.
Yeah, I was gonna say like yours is a bit radical from what she suggested.
Yeah.
Well, I chose the safest, like the least radical option I can get to.
Where we're actively doing right at the moment.
I did when I said the 24 weeks is the least radical.
Isn't that what we're doing right now, right?
Yeah.
Wait.
What?
Yeah.
Like that's what the current law is right now.
Oh yeah.
And
hasn't been
is that fact checkable? Like,
yeah, it hasn't been repealed yet.
Yeah,
the current
that's what they're
federal
going
law
against
states
is what she just said.
what I just said.
24 weeks.
24 to 28. Whenever you get fetal viability, whenever they deem the fetal thing to be able to live outside the womb.
So 28 divided by 4 is.
It's
3 months, 4 months.
We're about to add another guest.
It's 6 or 7. Yeah. It's late term. We're saying there's no late term abortions. You can get it all the way up through here, but not there.
If I'm arguing from like a pro-life perspective, which personally I'm not, if it's backed by religious dogma, then it's going to be hard to convince those people of anything then. Because, once God get in the conversation,
bro,
God said so.
But I can pull up like literally several TikToks about people pulling up references from the Bible that supports
abortion.
That first breath is first life.
Yeah, abortion. Yes, for sure. I've liked some TikTok videos. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I learn something new every day. I wasn't against that, but
because God kills children all the time, bro.
Of course he does. Splits them in half.
or the biblical guy, but we're not going to get into that.
Since you're jumping in the conversation, do you want to say what your thoughts about Roe v. Wade is?
It's despicable. It's disgusting. It's absolutely traumatizing. And it's not only to our generation, but like everyone before us, like the younger generation especially, because what they're seeing right now is literally power taking control of humanity. Like people that have so-called power because of their status, taking control of everyone else that's under them, which is the people that they're supposed to be taking care of, which are the people that we're supposed to be quote unquote looking up to, saying, okay, yeah, these people have this kind of power, which means they're supposed to be looking out for us, supposed to be taking care of our future. But in reality, they're just trying to control something that can, at the end of the day, like benefit them, not us. So it's just disgusting, and I'm absolutely like, I want to vomit every time. I get dizzy thinking about it because I'm just like, we're really living 9 to 5 jobs, waking up in the morning, living our lives, and and we're accepting this. Like, how the hell are we fucking accepting this?
How is it in the Muslim community? Because I don't know.
Okay, if I'm being
How do they
honest,
feel about like abortion in like the Muslim Islam?
Okay.
Is that like bad, or is that? Because I don't know.
That's where it gets complicated, because in the Muslim community, it's more than just, oh, you're getting an abortion, you're going to hell. It's more than just that. Everyone has made and created this idea that even the idea of having some sort of sexual interaction with somebody else without being married is already a sin. You're already going to hell. Number one, that's it. Like, that's everyone's like perspective of all of this, especially the grown-ups. People that like say, oh yeah, you know, we were here before you, we've known this for generations, listen to us, we know what's best for you. Like, that's where we all take all this from. And the fact that, I don't know, it's gotten up to the point where like it's like a political view where people are now saying you can't even have an abortion even if you want to. Like, you don't get that choice anymore. That's so far beyond like the Islamic view. We were at the point where for us it was just like the minimum, it was like the basic shit where it was just, oh, even having sexual intercourse, that's it, you're done, you're out. But this is a whole different level of like, you don't even get an option. Like, for some of us, yeah, we said, you know what, screw that shit. Like, we're going to do us. If we want to have sexual intercourse, we're going to do that. We're going to have fun. We're going to live our lives. Like, you didn't do that, but we're going to do that. Too fucking bad. But now it's a whole different level where it's a political shit, where it's like the government themselves are saying, you can't even do this even if you want to do this.
Yeah, I hear you. It's been political though. Like,
it has.
Because this law was like in the 60s or 50s. Mm-hmm. So, like, this is like 70 years ago.
But now they're public. Now they're bold. Now they're saying it with their chest. Now they're saying, too fucking bad. We're about to overrun all your choices. Like, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I think...
You know what I mean? It's more than just Islamic views now. Now it's like being a whole woman, female, human being. Now it's more than just like your religion. And that's where we're all just like, damn.
I think the reason why I'm mentioning the religion part, because from the pro-life perspective, their main point of credibility is religious dogma. Yeah. Is that, you know, hey, God said that this is wrong, so this is fucking wrong.
But what does God got to do with it now?
Or something, well, God is everything to people, right? You know, God is life. You know, without God, you know, there wouldn't be no them. So it's the ultimate answer. It's the convenient answer. I'm not saying that I agree personally with, you know, the divine command theory, you know, type of argument, like God told me so, like it is. But I do think it's important as a society that we recognize how much culture and religion truly plays a role into our institutions, into our policies, and into our ways of life.
And this is why I was pushing back a little bit earlier where you say it was just like a white evangelical thing. I think it's just a religious thing in general that motivates a lot of these things, because as you said, like Islam is the thing. Like, I've talked to some people who are like from India or something like that, and like from people who are like really religious there, like their parents are often putting that same thing on them too. And so like a lot of times it is like religion in there. And don't get me wrong, like it is America, so like
that's why I said white evangelical Christians.
You know? I'm not saying it's not there, but it's like it's more than just that. Like it's an intersectional issue that like affects a lot of different religious things, and also people who just view it as like this is a life from the moment that it's conceived. There are people who like won't even jerk off because they feel like they're just throwing away a life when they're jerking off, because they're like this is wrong right here. Like and like I've heard that from people who are like, you know, like who aren't just white when you were saying that. Like, so like anecdotally, like you were saying that you don't have that experience of people who like people of color who are as pro-life. Personally, I have, but I also understand too that a lot of the motivation and the money is coming from
that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, the actual power comes from white evangelical Christians in the United States. If they didn't give a fuck about abortion, then it wouldn't even be a thing. You know, like you know, that's like part of people gotta recognize about different like classes. You know, like some people's voices are just louder than others. You know,
but I think it's way deeper than just religion. Like, it's definitely like way deeper. I think they're trying to do something like with society. They're trying to do something. I feel like they want a certain group of people to struggle more. They want to fuck up kids. They want to fuck up families. Like, I feel like it's definitely deeper than like religion. They're trying to do something to communities, and they're trying to force people to have kids when, just like I was saying earlier, when they're not ready to have them, when they're not mentally, physically ready. They're trying to do something. They're trying. I feel like it's way deeper than that.
Let's explore that, particularly to potentially or intentionally disadvantage certain groups. The groups is women, right? Last time I checked, African American women are the like top 3 biggest group of women to have abortions in general. Did you guys know this? Yeah. I don't know if it's number 1 because I want to be inaccurate on that, but I know for a fact it is top 3. So if maybe something follows with like there, but if woman crosses all racial boundaries, then are we really willing to say that the people who are in control want certain disadvantages towards women by making them have babies? Like, is that what you're saying? I'm trying to get your line of thinking.
So, can I speak to that? Like, I feel like this kind of dovetails into what me and Tika were talking about earlier when we were talking about just like gender roles in general. As like we were saying, like previous to birth control in general, like it wasn't as advantageous, or the ability wasn't there as much for like women to be sleeping around as much as men are because pregnancy. And so with that being able to be like not able to be taken out of that picture and not have those options in there, it keeps women in that tradcon lifestyle, or the traditional lifestyle that is there. And I think another thing too is that like I don't think it's necessarily like, because I hear a lot of times too where it's like, people like, yeah, black women, like there is a lot of times where it's higher percentages of abortions, but a lot of that comes through with the like other people are like people, like a lot of white people are not just going to abortions, they're using birth control, they're using other things, and a lot of that is because a lot of these birth controls are not cheap. Plan B is $50 a pop. Like, that adds up, and you don't want to just be popping that shit like Tic Tacs.
How much is the IUD? Do you guys know?
How much is it?
Well, we have to pay for it once every 5 years. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
Insurance covers most of it if you have insurance.
Yeah.
And there's also that level too of some people don't want certain things in there, so everyone has
Why,
like
though?
different options.
Why is everything so expensive?
Well,
Exactly.
Why is everything set up the way it is?
Right.
Why don't we have universal health care?
Why is it only contraceptives for women?
Well, we know that why that is.
Can you tell me?
Bro, obviously, like they're getting some of the power, here and there, but this is a patriarchal society, bro.
Okay.
This is geared towards us, bro.
You're right.
Like, bro, nigga, we player one. Like at least that's what they're trying to intend it for. I don't necessarily believe that
Let's be honest.
fully.
It's profit. Everything is profit. It's
Profit as
money.
well.
We are the source for money for these people. Our existence is the source.
If that's the case, then why wouldn't they not let people have all the babies they want? Because they're going to profit off of the babies somehow.
Here's my other thing: overpopulation. Why are we the only country that doesn't offer free health care? Why are we, literally? I don't understand.
I have answers to those questions.
It baffles me how we charge people for their living. Like, you get shot, you owe $10,000 after getting help.
Well,
from the people that are supposed to be helping you, from the people that literally are getting degrees to help you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you're gonna have to give them $20,000 for this, for that. Like, why do we do that even from the get? Like, why?
I got you. Capitalism. So
But
I have a service that you want. How are you going to just deserve my service?
But damn, that's the answer though. For an ambulance bill.
I'm not saying that I agree.
That's not your answer, but that is the answer for why it is there.
Okay, theoretically. Okay, just hear me out. Theoretically, imagine if none of this existed, right?
None of what?
None of any of this, capitalism, all this, nothing. What would happen if we just lived amongst each other, trying to sustain the earth, trying to help the earth, trying to help ourselves, living off of the earth, helping each other live off of sustainable energy and all of that, instead of money. Like, money
got you.
doesn't even exist. Money is literally
Listen,
energy in my
and I have
mind.
an answer to that.
Like,
You will get enslaved, imperialized, colonialized. Like I'm telling you, like there's answers to this.
Is that the radical left?
No, what I just said.
What
or
she
what
said.
She just said.
What she said.
Imagine that kind of world.
I think that's like pantheism, traditional, tribal, Native American, African culture. You know, communal living.
So
You know.
is that not?
is this the only way of living? Money.
No, I'm not saying
9 to
that.
5s.
I'm not. Like I said, I don't necessarily agree. I'm just telling you what this system is predicated off of.
Oh, gotcha.
The founding fathers, you know, they weren't like, hey, you know, let's all just live off this land and help each other. They were rich white dudes who were probably in slave owners themselves, running away from a tyrannical government of Britain that was trying to subject and control them. Interesting enough, if we really want to get into the core roots of it, I really believe, like when it comes to Roe v. Wade or classism or any type of disruption in society, it's about power at the end of the day. So I would agree that it's more beneficial for humans to live communally. We're not in direct competition with each other where, you know what, I got this service, you got this service. Let's like trade barter system, how they used to do it, you know, living off of the land. However, there's other groups of people that didn't live like that, particularly the Europeans. Europe has been in perpetual war since its existence. Africans, they had war, but like from my studies of it was like when it got to that point, somebody would just simply move. You know, they would just migrate. But European colonialism was so specifically unique that they actually created the concept of race. Hell, Irishmen were called niggas too, white niggas. Did y'all know that Britain colonized, you know, Ireland, and they were indentured servants, and they were serving for like the British as fucking slaves? They were literally enslaving their own people that looked like them phenotype, and only until in the 1920s, when the immigrants started coming to America of like, you know, Italian, Irish, German, they saw that the political landscape will change from the bourgeoisie, the elites. So say, you know what, you guys are all whites now, and watch out for those niggers and Mexicans, because they might take your jobs. Like, so I believe it's the people at the top, the elite, who gets to control everything, and the people who are sheep, who just want to live in safety and in a serenity. So people are willing to give up their rights or their like sense of like selves for a false sense of security. You have things like corny capitalism. You know, there's gonna be winners and losers, but I don't know.
It's not even a choice anymore, though. It's not even you get to make that choice. It's you just have to go with what society is telling you to go with, or you're gonna be that black sheep, and that black sheep always either gets locked up, killed, or left out, and you're just gonna be fucking homeless or some shit. Because at the end of the day, it's not like they have your back. It's either you have to go with what they tell you to do, or you're done. You're stuck.
And like I said, it's all about power, you know, at the end of the day. So personally, I believe that women should be able to choose if they want to have an abortion or not. And if it turns out that they can't choose, then the people who voted for pro-life should be taxed out of their check, extra money, to pay for the social programs then, where those kids end up in. You know, like for example, like there's like
Also pay for like helping the woman while she's pregnant.
I got you, and I'm agreeing. So I think that would be a medium that would really get people's real answers out. Because what if these people what if like the people who vote for pro-life have to pay directly out of their own pockets now? Imagine how differently like they may feel.
Well, even on like for an economic argument, to purely taking out autonomy, purely taking out about everything else, right? There's a study in California. Let me get the name of it. It's in 2003. It's a family PAC study. I'm sure people can find more information on that one. But for every $1 spent towards birth control, there's cost savings of up to $7 for just in general about like society spending money on people, whether that's welfare, whether that's education, whether that's jails, whether that's healthcare, just in general, there is that spent like on there. If we want to reduce the number of abortions, the best way to do that is not to ban abortions, because that never works. There are black market doctors that will always work to do these abortions. This has happened in the 1910s, way like before any of this modern medicine is even here right now. Like, it doesn't stop it. If people are really concerned about stopping abortions, birth control needs to be just as easy as just going to the store and getting something for free. And so that's a disingenuous argument for me. Like, if somebody is really saying that, like, I don't like abortions, I think it's murder, okay, cool. Well, then make it easy as possible to stop that before it even gets there, and that can be your argument right there.
So let's talk about birth control. It's one of the worst things ever in life, and I don't support it, and I don't like it, and I have been on it most of my life. I've recently stopped it over the past 3 years because it has literally ruined my body. It has literally ruined everything about me. Like, it's
hormonal imbalance.
The hormonal imbalance, what it's done to my body. It has literally almost killed me twice. Literally, when I was in the hospital for blood clots, it was from birth control.
What were you using?
I've literally used every birth control.
That might be the problem.
I know, right? Because I know. Well, that's why I've used all of them, because I've tried to find one that works for me, but none of them has worked for me. That's the problem.
And that's part of the thing too, where we talk about like birth control like does not work for everybody, right? So it's not just talking about, like, I'm not trying to just say like the onus should be on there. Honestly, like, if there is a method of male birth control that works and that does not fuck guys up, honestly, I'm in favor for it, because what do guys worry about sometimes? Oh, is she gonna trap me, right? You hear that all the fucking time. I want the fucking autonomy that I don't gotta rely on you telling me the truth of whether you're on birth control or not. I want to take that shit in my own fucking hands.
But didn't a man create birth control? Am I wrong?
Well, we can search.
I'm pretty fucking sure a man created birth control, like thinking that it was the cure solution to all women getting pregnant. And I went like, what? I can't understand that at all.
But I mean,
I did that for 3 months, and let me tell you, it was the worst 3 months of my life. I felt like I was dying.
8:15.
Inside and out. Took that out real quick.
I don't think the solution to necessarily just be like people should have to take birth control.
Yeah.
But I think that if people are willing to do it, the barrier should not be high, and it should be the autonomy of that person to whether they do it, and it should be going both ways.
Right. Yep.
And that also includes because I'm just gonna be honest, them free fucking condoms that they give you, they fucking suck. Nobody likes them bitches. Them's are the pregnancy specials.
High school.
It doesn't work.
I did a good job, sir.
Look, it's better than nothing. But look, I want some shit I can like that are the good shit. And I don't always want to keep paying for that shit at the store, because that shit adds up over time.
Yeah.
Good condoms is expensive.
So I think you guys are making a good point about the birth control, about the place that religious dogma has, and the autonomy piece. And somehow in society, our greatest minds keep getting into this circle where it's not real. It's like a stagnant thing. It's like a gridlock where people don't necessarily come across the other side unless specifically like the female was like raped. Then most people from pro-life were okay, I understand that.
Not even that sometimes. Let's be honest.
I know, but it's like in my encounter, I feel like that moves the needle.
It's God's unexpected blessing.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying that this is so much more than like women's bodies and your guys' right to choose. Because I'm in agreement, you guys should like have that, but particularly with the power of religion. If religion was not influenced by those things, it'd be differently. Think about it. If it was like, hey, God does not like this argument, things would be fundamentally different. Which is why I think religion and state should always be separate. Personally, otherwise, you get, certain countries like America or Iran. I mean, like America, religion besides like Christianity is the dollar. Like profit over lives and stuff like that. So I guess I have a question to you all as we get ready to wrap up is what is like potential closure or like solutions or hopes that you guys would like to see in the future regarding pro-life and pro-choice debates and conversations and just, you know, the reality of it?
Well, for me, I feel like men should not have a say-so in it at all.
I disagree.
Men should not have a say-so on what a woman should do with her body because they don't have no idea what really goes on in a woman's body.
I agree.
That it's
Zero say?
zero.
So the reason why, like, obviously, I'm like, if we're to give like a percentage, the percentage of the validation, 80% women easily, and that's like the least, right? So I'm not saying that you guys should have most of the say, but you do have those cases where, like, you know, like when like a woman wants to have a baby, and the guy doesn't want to have it, and he's still forced by the state to pay for it. But it's like, wait, I didn't agree to this, you know? So it's on the other way around on that foot. Like, because there's a lot of women who have the baby anyway, you know, against the man's wishes and decisions, and he still has to pay for it, you know? And that conversation is not even being had there, you know? That's all I'm saying, you know? So that's why I say 80, 90% like women's choice. I guess it's situational basis. But I would hate to be trapped by some unworthy bitch, you know, personally.
Male birth control.
Having my seeds, you know, like, no, I'm gonna watch you eat this plan B. I'm joking.
Male birth control, simple.
That's the answer.
Or swallow.
Take it.
But why have sex with this woman anyway? Why have sex with her? Why nut in her? Why if you're like seriously though, then why? Why?
If you're not prepared to have to get pregnant.
It was like, why even go?
Biological imperative is to
Okay,
have
I mean,
sex.
that's the same argument
Yes,
that
your
Christians be
biological
giving people
imperative is to be
saying,
a father.
why have sex with a guy if you're not prepared to have the consequences of that
Be a
sexual action?
father. What you mean?
Yeah, why are all the
No.
consequences on the women?
No,
Okay, I see where he's
I
coming
just
from.
pointed out the consequence for the man. I literally just like laid
I
wanna-
see where he's coming from.
I wanna
All
hear
of a
what you
sudden-
said.
no, all of a sudden, I understand where he's coming. Like, what if you guys were drunk? You know, it was a long night. Everyone's like, you know what? You know, we can still use a condom, but whatever happens, happens kind of night. And then you still get her pregnant. And she's like, this is not what I wanted. But you know what? I'm going to take it. It's whatever. But it's definitely not what you want. And at the end of the day, it's her body, and she gets to choose. And you're
it's a
kind of
free
just
paycheck.
like, damn, what the fuck do I do?
he gets to choose if he wants to be a father or not.
No, he does not.
Yes, he
is.
Yeah, he does.
How
if you're the father-
how many men isn't in their kid's life? Like literally, that's what I mean.
Should he have to pay child support?
Yeah, he should.
He doesn't have to if he's gonna
Okay,
be
it's
the
not
father,
about
right?
having to pay
If
child
you're gonna
support.
raise a
At the end of
child.
the day, it's about taking responsibility for what you know you're a part of.
Right.
So it's 50-50. And then the day, even though she takes the control of giving birth and doing all that, you still had a part in that.
If that's the case,
So-
if you can kill this motherfucker, I can at least abandon it.
It's about morals at the end of the day. Morals.
But listen, morals is really subjective, right?
How is it really subjective?
Culturally,
though?
morals are different. Seriously.
Take culture out of it. It's
You
the
can't.
facts. It's the
can't.
facts.
It's
You guys
can't.
had sex.
You have different groups of people.
No, you guys accepted it. Both accepted the fact that you were gonna have sex that night and said okay, and didn't think about the outcome. The outcome happened. Now who does it fall on?
That's the same argument, though, that conservatives, like I said, used to say if a woman is having sex, they should be responsible for the outcome of pregnancy.
Not just the woman though. Who also had part? You're acting like the woman.
Agree, but that's like.
I just don't think that either of them have responsibility for the child, because you consented to sex, you didn't consent to have a baby.
But what if the woman says, "I'm gonna keep it because I can't kill the baby"? Then what?
Then you can raise
Then
it.
I think that she
Then
can
she should
raise
raise it by herself.
And that he
find
can just
someone.
walk away and say, "I'm good."
It's not like
I can't tell you.
I think
I
that
can't
would
tell
be
you to have an
possible
abortion.
if
You can't tell him being alive.
the government helped out in this
No, without
scenario.
the government though. Like this is literally just the simple fact that
But
you
it's
do
not without the girl. You
like,
cannot say that this thing is without when it impacts people's lives. Like I said, I am with you that women shall have the right to choose to do with their own bodies. But the 100%, you lose me. Even though I'm 80, 90% there. I think that's pretty fucking
I
generous.
think maybe my religion got the best of me, because for me it was always like my dad, like he died, but like he would always tell me, if you're gonna sleep with a man, just know that he's gonna have to take 50% of the work. like, don't ever let him walk away. Like, that's literally what I have printed in my head. Like, that's why I don't just sleep with anybody, because it's just literal, like, motherfucker, you gonna take the 50%. Like, I don't give a fuck whether you want it or not.
So,
like,
yeah.
Damn. Y'all really hitting a different spot right now.
I think there's one thing I'm thinking about too is like, what if y'all had a conversation before it, right? And you said like, because I think for like one thing, like if y'all communicating with each other and you're like, okay, if this happens, you know, would you want to keep the baby, yes or no? And y'all both agree, no, we wouldn't keep the baby. Pregnancy happens. She changes her mind. If y'all, like, I feel like especially in a situation like that, like if y'all had a conversation, y'all had communication right there, I feel like that's kind of revoking my consent, because especially if I'm consenting to this arrangement and consenting to what birth control I'm using, whether it's condoms or whether things like there,
Or pull out.
you know, like, and I'm recognizing that it's like, okay, there are other things that is going to stop, that a kid isn't going to happen because we have that agreement, and then that gets pulled back.
Yeah.
I think that, like, especially there, like, there shouldn't be that responsibility, because like
that's
you
different.
said, there's multiple decisions in there.
Yeah, like if y'all have that conversation ahead of time, like, okay, yeah, you know, we doing this. If this happens, do you want a child? Both of you say hell no, and then she happens to get pregnant and be like, okay, yeah, I want to keep the child. Now that's foul as fuck.
Yeah.
Y'all already had the yeah, but I'm saying.
Otherwise, wear rubber. If y'all don't know about this shit, like, I don't like them bitches, but like, shit, if I don't know you, I'm not taking that chance.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm trying to, like,
4
just
out of 5
male
of my aunts are
contraceptives,
condom
a
babies.
condom, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't work all the time.
Right, it doesn't. It doesn't.
4 out of 5 of my aunts are condom babies.
So maybe 20 years from now, guys.
Yeah, my grandma came in and she's like, I need my tubes tied. And they're like, we can't. And like, what? Is there
What do you mean
something
I
wrong? And
can't?
she's like, you're pregnant.
Shit. She was like, fuck.
Because doesn't pregnancy start in the fallopian tube?
No, that's bad. That's called an ectopic birth.
You're gonna have to.
Wait hold on.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna ask to make sure. So do you might have any closing points?
I think for my closing on this, I'll say that like responsibility goes both ways, and I think autonomy goes towards what you can be autonomous to. Just like in the same way as like I don't claim autonomy over a woman's body. I also think that like if a guy should take some effort in at least establishing like before things happen, like especially if I'm not going to take any steps myself, and I'm taking that risk, I should at least establish what's going to be happening there too. I do think that regardless of like, I think abortion should be legal, but there also is like damage that can come from abortions because it is a surgical procedure.
Still their choice.
And it's still their choice. But like, I think that if we can reduce the amount of abortions through other ways, but I think that like we should also be just thinking beyond just talking about abortions, because there's a lot that happen in between there. But I agree with what you said, Tyshawn, where if that there is that autonomy there, like I can't tell a woman what to do with her body and whether to have that kid. But at the same time is if especially if we've had that conversation and I've tried to make an effort and I've tried to do what I can control on myself, and then that changes, I shouldn't have to be trapped and have my life tied down, just like I don't want a woman's life tied down for something that isn't my decision and that's outside of my control, because just because you consent to sex does not mean you consent to a baby.
Any other last thoughts and remarks before we close?
I just want to say that I think that men want to control women.
Simple. Period. Leave it at that. It's 2022. Can we please step it up a little bit? I know we have the right technology. We have everything that we fucking need. We're acting like we're stupid. We're not stupid. We could definitely offer more to society and the world. And I feel like they're literally holding back. That's what I feel like. They're not giving us the best they can give us, the best options, the best opportunities, the best, outcomes. I feel like they're giving us the bare minimum and telling us to work with it. And then if we can't handle it, then that falls on us, not them.
Yeah,
we suffer, not them.
Are you talking about like elites or like men?
Everything. I feel like at the end of the day, it's elites, men, all of it. Like, it's power. You're right. At the end of the day, power. We know we can give these people better options, better opportunities, better, like, We're in 2022. This is not 2012. This is 2012. Think about it. 2012. We didn't think about all this back then. No, we're in 2022. Like we should be thinking 10, 20 years down the road. But what? We're stuck here talking about taking control of women's bodies and our options. Like, are you fucking serious? First of all, we're 10 years too late. Why the fuck are they bringing this up now? Like, they could have brought this up years ago. Why is this happening now? I feel like all this is a fucking distraction. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Some other shit is going down. It's like, why now out of all the fucking time? Why now? 2022? When, like, we're in the biggest fucking war with Ukraine right now. Like, when we have so much more to worry about, we're really saying now we're gonna take control of their bodies? Bullshit.
Gotcha.
It's bullshit.
And with that being said, we are Perspectives from the Void.